So many young adults are graduating high school right now, and rarely are they or their parents ever fully prepared for heading off to college. Here to help you with that transition is Dr. Susan Orenstein. She's a psychologist and relationship expert from Orenstein Solutions, a family counseling center in Cary. Thank you for coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
So, are you going through this right now?
I am going through this right now. So I am a mom of a 17-year-old that is graduating in a couple of weeks and headed out for college. So it's near and dear to my heart.
Do you have a lot of anxiety about that?
A little anxiety, not a lot, but I am saving the tears because I know they're coming.
You know what, I went to college 5 miles down the road from where I grew up, and my mom took me, and I've never seen her cry that hard in my life, knowing that I was 5 miles down the road, and surely I'm gonna come see her on the weekends and go home for a home-cooked meal, but it didn't matter. There's something about that change of life that is difficult for parents to handle.
It's a huge milestone.
And so what are some of the things that you suggest that parents prepare themselves for when it comes to this?
I think it can be empowering for parents to realize they still have a role, a really important role as a parent of a young adult, and that they can just be so important as a mentor, a sounding board, a cheerleader, still have a fantastic relationship for years to come. So it's not over, it's just another chapter.
And the roles change, obviously, over time.
The roles change.
What are some of the things that parents need to focus on specifically to help themselves and also their kids go through this transition?
They can remember things they can do to be helpful to their son or daughter. So as the year comes up and their son or daughter is starting college, they get those phone calls where the kid might be really upset or anxious or have some setback. They can play a really important role in being that support and building confidence for their son or daughter.
Competence is huge. Now, what about responsibility and making them more competent as people at that stage of their lives?
I think parents can think of themselves as like a mentor or a coach, and it's really important that they have conversations with their son or daughter. They don't jump in to try to fix things, but they also don't disappear. That they have conversations and they help their kids brainstorm. So for instance, your son or daughter is panicking about a paper, don't go in, don't rush in and write the paper for them, don't hang up on them, but remind them there's a writing center, there's a professor who has office hours. Be there to be that rational, calm, supportive voice.
And what about when it comes to social media? Because nowadays the best way for everyone to keep in touch is online. Is it good or bad when it comes to that relationship for the parents to be constantly monitoring what the new college kid is posting on his or her Facebook page?
I think you can get a tone from your son or daughter about that. So for instance, for my son, he says, there's a limit. I don't want you snooping around on my Facebook. And I respect that. It depends on what you and your son or daughter is comfortable with, but I certainly wouldn't be on there all the time if your son or daughter doesn't like that. Then it would feel like mom or dad's stalking them.
Do you ever dread that day that you're going to get a call on a Saturday morning where your son says, "Mom, I just want to warn you now, there are probably going to be some pictures that are going to be posted on my Facebook page later, and you may not like it because I was out partying a little bit last night." Does that freak you out as a parent?
I hadn't thought about that, so now maybe.
Oh, well, good. Yeah.
No, it really hadn't occurred to me. I think anything's possible, but it doesn't really help to constantly think about the worst case scenarios like that.
And what about when it comes to navigating the field of money? A lot of times kids run out of money very quickly, and maybe they're not able to work enough to provide enough money for themselves in college. That's a big struggle in real life. Does that also happen between parents?
That is an excellent point. And yes, I've seen that with students I've worked with, that there gets to be a lot of conflict about money. And what I recommend there is before your son or daughter heads off to college, come up with some kind of financial plan and revisit that and see how the money's going. It's not good to teach them the lesson when they run out of all their money the first month to say, "Oh, I'm not giving you any more." I think it's a lot easier if you can have the conversation ahead of time. Here's how much I'm going to give you. Let's monitor this. Let's walk through this together.
Or they could just do what my dad did and said, "Here, go figure it out yourself."
Could.
Maybe that could be a life lesson.
That's called learning, being thrown in the deep end.
Dr. Susan Orenstein, thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us about this.
My pleasure. Thanks, Mike.
If you want more information about this particular problem or to set up a session, it's so easy to do. Go to OrensteinSolutions.com.